up, buddy?
Good evening, Winthrop votes. What's up?
Good evening, Winthrop.
Scott McLean. Good evening, Winthrop, too. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been going on, buddy? How are you?
Well, we weren't on last week, right?
No, we weren't. And
that was Memorial Day, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, I went up to, as you know, went to Sarasota to Siesta Key.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way. And we always do for people watching. We do a little small talk at the beginning to let people come into the live stream. But expectations were not met. And
really?
I give Sarasota and Siesta Key the Hoover Dam rating. Yeah, you only have to see it once.
Right. Yeah. So wait a minute. What did you not like about Siesta Key?
So where we stayed, we were about less than a mile from what they call a local beach. It was Turtle Beach. It's quiet, Sand is not the greatest sand, but Sarasota Beach proper, Siesta Key, whatever, they're known for the sand. So my wife and I went to the local beach, and my stepdaughter and my niece got dropped off at the Siesta Key Beach, or Sarasota Beach. And we went to pick them up in the afternoon. And, dude, it was like rush hour traffic on a Friday afternoon in downtown Boston to get into the parking lot.
Yeah.
At this beach. And this was still at like 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, who's going to sit in traffic just to get into a parking lot to go to a beach that evidently is really crowded because there's a ton of people there? And I guess I'm spoiled living down here. I don't like crowded beaches. Not a big fan of them. But people sitting in a line just to get into the parking lot to go to the beach. Nah. So then we went on Sunday over to Longboat Key. We dropped those two off. They had a kayak tour. And we went downtown to St. Armand Circle.
Yeah.
Same thing. Traffic. And all that place is, it's a big circle. It's got restaurants and a couple shops and like nothing spectacular. Now, if you're from Nebraska, I guess it's nice, but we're not going back. We're definitely, I'm not a West Coast guy.
I'm not, given the fact that you don't like crowds. I mean, I'm not surprised. Although my experience, like Miami, although I don't like South Beach anymore.
It's crowded.
It's crowded. But the West Coast happens to have less. Well, I can't speak for Boca and Deerfield because I didn't spend enough time there. But
Deerfield's crowded.
Yeah, Lauderdale. You got a lot of older people in that demographic too that don't necessarily go to the beach either. Too, I don't know.
Yeah.
They're more crowded on the West Coast. There's no getting around that.
Buddy of mine was telling me Jupiter. His father had a condo there, and they used to have to wait in the traffic just to get to his condo for people going to the beaches.
Yeah,
the West Coast just wasn't designed like that. It wasn't designed for a large crowd, but it gathered over the years. Clearwater was the same thing. I'll never go back to Clearwater Beach again.
Yeah.
Nice beach, always gets voted beautiful beach. Yeah, it's getting to that beautiful beach that the problem is.
Right. Yeah.
So that was my Memorial Day weekend. What about you?
Filled with sporting events, yard work.
Okay.
I think I'm a mason, of course. I don't do pavers, and it's behind my shed. And I had all these extra pavers from the paver job, and they're not just these little pavers.
Yeah, they're the big squares.
Big squares.
Yeah.
Having to dig down 2 inches in the mud.
Yeah, those are infamous down here. People love pavers down here.
The pavers. Anyway, yeah. So I had to dig deep, and it looks like a twisty roller coaster.
You got to put the sand down, sit it in the sand, fill in around it. It's a whole thing.
Yep. No. As it sinks, I'll just throw gravel on top of it.
There you go. So what's on our agenda tonight?
So we're bringing back a guest, and I think we should start with Kurt Millar. He has some updates for us. He was at a budget meeting. I believe he attended a school committee meeting, or at least a meeting that had discussion about the school's budget. So we're going to talk about that. And if that doesn't chew up our whole show today, We can touch on a couple things going on around in Winthrop. I had coffee this morning with the new town manager, so I'd like to share a little bit of that conversation. Hoping he's watching tonight, Tony.
Well, why don't you let's get a little before we bring Kurt on.
Yeah,
Kurt's a very interesting guy. Kurt has a lot to say.
Yeah,
he's very boisterous, aggressive.
Yeah.
So we got to get our stuff in because he's just going to dominate the whole show. We got to watch that.
Well, I'm sure you have questions, so I'll let you ask. You're always curious.
For what questions as far as
about my coffee this morning?
Yeah. So first of all, where did you have coffee? Let's plug a local business.
Excellent point.
See, that's why I'm the producer.
That's so good. No, you're just good at this. You're just good. Yep,
I'm just good at it. Yeah.
Grass doesn't grow on a busy street, so I got to think more. Adriana's, which is, do you know where that is?
No, I don't.
So you know where the Belle Isle moved to, right?
Yes.
Okay, so
it's right next door to that.
It's right. It's in that.
I've been in there. Yeah, I've been in there.
Yeah, nice guys. Two brothers opened it up in the name of their late sister.
All right.
Two hustlers. I'm going to talk to them soon enough. Right next to our friend at Lauren at Ace Hardware.
Yep.
So we met there, had coffee with her, spent about an hour together. Tried to get a little bit behind his philosophy, but to be candid with everybody watching here, I wanted him to just kind of know. I wanted to get to him before everybody ruined him, with regards to me. I wanted him to have a chance of knowing me a little bit, on his own. And so we spent a lot of time. Where did he grow up? He's from the South Shore, from Pembroke. We had a common friend, a guy he worked with that that was dating one of my roommates in college. I mean, it was a good laugh.
Good
guy.
Everything went well.
Yeah, we're hoping to get him on.
All right.
So we're hoping to get him on.
He's not going to get grilled if he's watching. We're not like that. We're not snipers. You don't get brought in and then all of a sudden you're picked off. We get you from behind. But that'd be good if we get him on.
That's right.
I just want to hear what he has to say and what his plans are. Right.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely. Yep.
Good. So without further ado, let's bring on the resident expert on the budgets.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, hold on. This guy he's out of control sometimes. So let's bring him on. He's all right. Here he is, Kurt Millar.
Wow, there's two bald heads in this call here. There's a lot of brain
2.5 because you're going, buddy. You're like the Alamo, Todd. The Alamo. Just sometimes you got to give up the fort.
It's just doing the wave.
Just bring it home, buddy. Right, you just got to bring it home.
That's coming. It's coming.
I don't
want to let it go.
So what's up, Kurt?
Same old stuff. Just digging into things and.
All right. Let's bring you into the conversation. We got a little time. We got all the time. It's a live stream. We got as long as we want.
We own the time.
How was your Memorial Day weekend?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Kept busy, hung out with some friends. Didn't do anything wild and crazy, but
all right.
Yeah. All right. Pretty laid back.
Like I said, this guy is a fireball. We got to watch out, Kurtz. He's a fireball. All right, easy, buddy. Todd with the delayed laugh. There you go. All right, moving on. So you went to let's start real quick with the school budget. You mentioned something about that. I
did not go to a meeting.
Okay.
Did not go to the
But you have some numbers.
No? Yes, actually in the proposed budget. So I think Todd had the numbers a little bit quicker than I did. The 29.
I have
go high.
I have what you get. I have what the proposed budget that you sent me, which is that the one that they officially sent to the.
I believe it is
to the council. Okay.
Yes.
So in that proposed budget, it's 23.7 million is the request for fiscal year 23, which is a 900. I'm sorry. Yeah, about 900,000. Am I doing that right? Or am I lying here? 6, 5. Yeah, it's
roughly.
Yeah, roughly. Let's just do the math.
I'm trying to get back to the page I had it on.
Todd got his high school calculator next to him. You gotta love that.
He's got an abacus.
It's 900,000. I was using the abacus and it wasn't working. It's 900K. It's exactly what I thought.
Todd, is that a Radio Shack?
No.
calculator?
It's Amazon special.
Texas
I wish you
Amazon,
had a
what did they call it? Amazon.
Prime.
Well, yeah, but
Amazon Essentials.
Amazon a choice. It's the Amazon's choice.
Choice.
In
Okay.
Amazon Essentials.
All right. So roughly 900,000, right, Todd?
Right. We're at 900K over last year. Yep.
And Kurt, what did you come up with?
I'm thinking it's going to be a lot less. And the council, what was proposed, I believe, is less than what was asked for. It's always that way, right?
Right.
You reach for the stars, and you can only get what the budget warrants.
Settle for what you get. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking it's going to be less than probably roughly around 500,000 to 600,000 less.
All right.
The total number 5 to 6, or the total number 300 versus 900.
I do need to do a little bit more math because it wasn't really focusing on.
Yep, that's fine.
The school. I was.
This is just
on
a
other
rough
departments.
Yep.
Right.
But yeah, you can only get so much out of the budget. When I was listening to the budget discussions on FinCom and all that, you can tell the town has no money. We really don't have money just to throw around. And our biggest part of the budget is the school.
Yes.
Didn't you mention there's one of the teachers unions was screaming that Winthrop has a lot of money for raises?
Everybody thinks we have a lot of money because we're Winthrop. I mean, if you go outside of Winthrop and you ask people about Winthrop, they're like, "Oh yeah, Winthrop has money." We don't. We're one of those. Let's do things to make us look better than what we actually are.
So you're saying Winthrop is no Boca Raton?
No. Right. No. All the rich retirees go. And
hey, not just retirees.
Right, that's fair enough. But just for a little perspective for the folks who watch, okay. First of all, during my time serving on the school committee, I believe we averaged about 2.6% increase to our budget each year. This particular request, which I don't know if Kurt's wrong and they get what they asked for, it's 3.94%. That is a huge increase on the biggest chunk of the budget. And now, of course, we expect it because it's the schools, right? And it's the most employees, the most buildings, et cetera, et cetera. But that being said, that's important for people to understand because there's only so much money in the budget. So it's not like the schools, if you ever hear the commentary, they underfund, they won't give us enough money. That's just simply not true. With the exception of the non-departmental appropriations, it's the biggest percentage. The non-departmental is 4.5, almost 4.6% increase. But you're only talking about, well, it's still a big number, 18,000. But that's also, I believe, that also represents the non-departmental represents the total of the enterprise funds, right? And those are basically self-funded, essentially.
Yeah, we can argue that.
Well, right. Areas that may or may not be, and we're going to get into that. But I think the school, just a couple more things there, because they're in a negotiation. They're asking for a lot more. We know, we talked about this. I believe we talked about this a couple of shows back, Scott. They're going to be able to meet their legal obligations for contracts even if they settle on 222. Everyone's thinking it's somewhere in the 2 to 3 range because Everett's got 4 or Brookline got 444 and this one got 3, right? So let's just assume the worst case and it goes 222 because that would be bad. They've got the money for the first 2 because of all the leftover ESSA and ARPA funds or ESSER funds, the ESSERs for the schools, which is the COVID money. So they're using one-time funds to cover their butts now. By year 3, we're going to be in another situation where we're going to be talking about the town needs to give us more money, take it out of the capital stabilization funds or whatever. So I wanted to provide that perspective on the school.
All right. So the main thing that we wanted to talk about tonight, the main topic, is the DPW.
Right.
And Kurt has done some extensive digging on that. So the show is yours. And remember, if you need anything as a visual, just tell Todd.
All right. So one thing I want to touch on quickly is that I started digging into the state guidelines for enterprise funds.
Okay.
And when you have an enterprise fund, you know how we constantly have like these indirect costs, and everybody's like, well, what are these indirect costs? No one knows. It says clearly in the state guidelines for enterprise funds is that indirect costs should be clear. That way, down the road, there's no question to what's in it.
Correct.
So we don't have that. So it was great to hear. I actually sent it to Tracy Honan, and she sent it to Karen and Matt, and with my email and everything in it, saying, "Hey, it says it should be clear, but it doesn't seem clear to me when we try and look through the budget." So she did share it. I give her kudos for that, and they actually brought it up in the meeting that it was put out there that a constituent was addressing this, and that was me. So the request from FinCom to the council also was that they would like to see the indirect costs be clarified
in this budget. Not like, oh, we'll do it next time.
No, the request
we want immediate.
The way I heard it
at the immediate transparency,
and it should be. We all should know for these enterprise funds, indirect costs are mixed up with utility bills, or water
Kurt,
bills, or.
Do me a favor, and like I said, I am not a budget person, so I'm basically like maybe some of the people watching. I have a lot of questions. What is an enterprise fund for those like me that aren't really clear on it?
It's to give a high level kind of overview of it. It's basically a self-sufficient fund. Basically, they're supposed to be self-sufficient where they can charge for fees, user fees, to pay for the services or what's being used.
Okay.
That's very high level. But what it's supposed to do is create enough funds in revenue to cover all their expenses.
The expenses as far as
what goes out.
Everything in the budget. That's the base. The base of the budget is the enterprise fund.
So if you look at the ferry, we'll take the ferry. That's another, thorn in my side.
And it's back.
But it's funded because what's going on with the tunnel and everything. If that wasn't going on, it wouldn't have been funded. But there's even more news on that too. But
yeah, of course.
If you look at the the ferry, you need ridership. All right, Winthrop's ridership is notoriously low over this current, ferry. There's been 3 of them, which a lot of people don't realize. 3 attempts at a ferry,
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to give up when you're not winning.
Is it fair to say though these last 2 were just different boats, right? They weren't all 3. Were they all run from the same pier?
No, I don't believe so. The first one was
a new terminal came in. There was a new systems. There was more marketing for the last 2. The last 2 were a better job than the first one.
This one we're currently at was much better marketing. I will say that. You had the online stuff, but we relied heavily on Quincy to pay us and subsidies.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people want to say, "Oh, that's a public transportation." It's actually not. It's a private transportation.
Yeah, it's not public.
It's owned by the town.
Yeah.
So if you're not getting the ridership and you're begging every year for subsidies and you're just squeaking by, is that really effective? If it goes in the red and you're not getting the money to cover that, taxpayers have to pay it.
That comes out of the enterprise fund?
Out of the general budget to go into
general
the
budget.
Got to pay for it.
They'll
take it comes out of. Go ahead, Todd.
They'll take it, not the stabilization. I think stabilization is you can't touch it, but I think the revolving funds, they can move that money around for certain things. But they take it from the existing general budget.
So you're saying it's a money pit?
It's pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
You'll see after the tunnel stuff that's going on, we're not going to get the funding like we were. We're actually, from what I'm understanding, is that's going to be part of. They're starting to look at that. We will be part of a kind of a
the T.
the T where it's multiple cities.
It is going to be public.
And that's how it should be.
Well, it's probably going to be here to stay, Kurt, from the perspective of public transportation, which when we get to that point, it's going to be interesting because, again, how do you that landing is not a public parking place. Like you can only park so many cars in there. Those middle spots are for boats only and trailers. So how are people going to get there?
That's been a huge beef of mine with the ferry is that, we're asking out of town people to come in and take the ferry into town. We're asking our own people in town. Which
puts a stress on the infrastructure, on the roads, on parking. It's a snowball effect.
I love ferries.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're amazing. It's just not for our town to do. It doesn't make financial sense. Plus, you're going to end up paying a town employee to run it. And what does that affect? Benefits.
Right.
Yeah.
So
DPW budget.
Yes. So just going through some of these things, what I find is interesting is the proposed new budgets. All the employee payroll lines are increased. And then the division of the director, they're actually taking out of the trash also now. There's a percentage of the new trash enterprise. A portion of that is going to be towards his salary now, which it should be. I mean, it's when you're the supervisor, you actually, out of all the enterprise funds and everything, you get a little percentage to get your payroll because you have to do the work for those.
Right.
Here's something that's interesting. I cannot find the gas line for filling up the vehicles in the budget. I don't know if you looked on, but I can't find where they're filling up the trucks. And here's another thing with this too is it's not regulated. So anybody the DPW can drive up, fill their car up, and leave.
So okay, let me back up a step on that one.
Tell me when you want me to pull that up, Todd.
Okay, well, when I inquired about the school buses that we were running as a program, I sat down with the DPW director and I asked very straightforward question. How do we know when the buses that we are paying for through the school privatization of the buses, I don't know if you remember that time, Kurt, but that was me and Turco and that crew. We were told that either it was a certain key to unlock the pump or a card to put in for the pump. Is there none of that equipment? Have we looked at the pumps? So it's gone.
It's gone. It's been discussed at council meetings.
How long has this been going on?
I couldn't tell you.
Now the buses
for as long as the water meter not working at the DPW.
The buses don't fill up there anymore. We outsource that now. But go ahead.
Police cars, I believe, do. All the DPW trucks do.
So it's not regulated.
No. And with gas going as crazy it is right now, it needs to be regulated. And I know that was actually put forth also to the town council that needs to be done.
Look, I had a take-home vehicle with the federal government. We had a gas card. Like, you're accountable. Like, you had to present receipts at the end of every month for everything, every penny of gas that you use.
I can tell you, I've been looking through this budget, and I don't see it in there.
So, okay,
so
let's zero in on that.
Yeah, Scott, pull the visual for 1 second.
Yeah, sure.
And we can skip this, but just for a second, can you guys see what I'm highlighting here?
Let me get this off.
This 232 is 227.
The cursor is
Quinn bill.
Yeah, the
Quinn bill. All right, so Quinn bill.
Are you familiar? You're familiar with the Quinn bill, right, Scott?
No.
That reimburses guys for getting a college degree of some kind in law enforcement.
Okay.
So am I to believe that we spend this much money in reimbursing and our police force going to college?
$250,000
in a year?
Just about.
Yeah, that's and we have such turnover. Like,
so
we're paying them to get an education,
and then they leave.
Jobs.
They don't have a commitment.
Apparently not. Maybe we should look at
what is that like. I mean, that's like, okay, I'll take nursing as a profession. I can speak on that because my wife's a nurse. A hospital or even a college will pay for your college, but you have to work for them for X amount of years. It's a contract.
If I got this wrong too, somebody straighten me out here. I'm pretty sure that's.
I believe that's what it is also.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm going to Google search it right now.
So that's almost $250,000 to college. And so, and there's no accountability on or maybe there is on how many officers used that, went to college and then left.
Right.
So
yeah,
maybe
it's something that we have to be dug into, but
is that a chief of police thing or is that somebody has to have an answer to this. So
the Police Incentive Pay Program, also known as the Quinn Bill, was enacted by the Massachusetts legislature to encourage police officers to earn degrees in law enforcement and criminal justice. So,
and then you just go work for another agency once you get the
well, that is apparently what is happening. I would love to have.
All right. What else on here that you found interesting?
Go ahead. Yeah, Kurt.
So that's the police department. Do you see any gas?
Cell phones, telecommunication, fax lines, internet, postage, secure document, general office supplies, automobile parts. That's about as close as it gets.
Yeah.
There's a phone but that's only $7,000. Prisoner meals, $410. Safety supplies, uniforms, software annual license. Yeah, there's nothing on gas in the police department budget. What about the fire department? There we go.
I don't think you're going to see it.
Oh, that was that the fire department?
No, or is this now? This is now.
Personal stock, overtime, educational, holiday, electricity, heat, repair, maintenance of vehicles, equipment leases, training services, telecommunications, general office supplies, cleaning supplies, preventative medical supplies, fire prevention supplies, uniforms, in-state tolls, professional associations, software annual license costs, and replacement automobiles.
There might be, by the way, I don't know where it's accounted for. I'm wondering if it's being accounted for. Actually, it had to be last year's budget, so never mind. It's not this year's budget. Moving on. Inspection services. Where's DPW? Did I miss it?
No.
It's up above the fire department. I mean the police department then. Oop. General government. Town manager. We'll get back to that.
No gas. So that's so we don't know who's taking gas.
At this moment, I'm not going to say people are stealing it or anything. But
I would like to think they won't. We'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
There's got to be a line item to show.
It's definitely.
How much gas is being used,
especially today.
DPW.
All right.
So that's building maintenance.
Building maintenance. It's personal overtime, license, longevity, uniform, stipend, natural gas, repair, maintenance, general repairs, cleaning supplies, annual software license. There's nothing.
Where's the rest of DPW's budget? Does it not have a, exterior? What do they call it? And where's the mass water allocation? Where does that fall?
So it's again the where the budget is. There's the forecast for 2023. You got the proposed. So the average person trying to go through this. And I'll say maybe I'm just slightly above average because, I got to deal with my budget at work every day.
You have working knowledge of a budget.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know the acting CFO, assistant CFO has really done a lot of work in trying to do the right thing. You got to give him kudos.
No one's, we're not pointing a finger at anybody yet. But there's got to be a finger pointed at somebody for this.
But it just gets interesting. Just if you sit and actually look through this and try and if you even think about it, in your own household budget, you have to break down line by line how many credit cards you have, your mortgage, your insurance, and all this stuff. You have all those line items in there, and it's almost like sometimes things get buried.
Where is the
in other line items.
where do they get their gas?
That I couldn't tell you. I haven't probed into that too
Here we
much.
go, DPW.
Is there like I know in the Air Force when I was a police officer, we had a specific pump that we would go to. It was designated just for us to fill up our vehicles. And even that was accounted for.
Yeah, they go right down to the DPW for that.
So they go down to the DPW.
Is it possible that they're burying it in this line?
30,000. And so we're talking the budget is yearly, correct?
Yep, that's not a lot. I know.
That's not a lot for gas.
No.
With all the vehicles,
All right.
police vehicles, fire vehicles, DPW vehicles.
Well,
Know about
okay,
that.
so maybe they're allocating it somewhere else because I didn't see gas in the police vehicles either. So let's see. Snow
So-
and ice.
So
Maybe-
touch on something quickly as you keep going through. What are these stipends in there for 25K?
You have to request them, but they're definitely for extra quote unquote extra jobs that usually get done during regular work hours. Just saying. Just saying.
So I just got a text from somebody, a viewer that said they don't believe the Quinn bill is still in existence, but we have it on our budget. So how does that?
Yeah, so maybe
so-
it's a grandfathered thing. If you were hired by a certain date, you can still qualify for it.
Well,
I don't know.
these are questions that have to be answered, right? It's money. It's budget money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's $250,000 almost. Give or take 20 grand. So there is
haven't seen a
nothing for
gas line,
gas
have
there.
There's nothing.
No, there is nothing.
nothing for gas.
It's got to be buried into something else. which
So let's look
to
at the
me means
biggest
you're
number.
kinda hiding it.
It's got to be in one of the bigger numbers on the budget.
Well,
Right?
but what would you? Okay, so it's clearly not going to be under this line item, right? Because it's the school, and it's clearly not
there you
going
go.
to be here.
I see fuel shared expenses,
Here we go.
but hold on.
Fuel. There you go.
$100,000.
But is that everything there is for school?
How do you know that?
Am I wrong? Shared expenses.
No, this could be across the
Okay.
district.
Yeah, but $100,000. I mean,
For gas.
if that's everybody, I would say that number is slightly off.
Well, that could be. But
So who would have the answer to that?
you know, who
We'd have to go back in and request probably Freedom of Information Act on that one.
No one could just answer that, like the people in the budget committee.
Well, I bet Karen Chavez knows who oversees the shared expenses, where
Well-
that rolls up to.
Well, at least we found gas.
Yeah,
Which
but it
I'd like to
doesn't say
think that
what
it's-
for.
Right.
Yeah, it's under shared expenses. So maybe DPW, fire department.
But then again,
And-
electricity is a shared expense and heat is, but so it doesn't really.
I
that's why-
gotta say that looks like an awfully low number for heat. If we're talking the new middle high school,
It's only 12 grand.
yeah, and the drafty town hall, yeah,
So
and
that
with
was-
the town hall with with all the really energy efficient air conditioners hanging out the window, running all day, every day, overnight. Come on,
That would be under electricity,
yeah, no, I get it.
which is 114, which for a year.
Yep. That also, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're doing something right. Maybe we have soul and we don't know it. Well, I will say we did change. I think now all of the street lights are those LED super duper efficient electricity. They
Good.
don't burn, but and that did have an impact, but I think we may have already realized that.
Well, let's. I guess one of the things we gotta look for is that fuel shared expense include is that all the town DPW, fire department, police department, right?
Ask that again.
So I guess one of the things we have to look for, what we want to find out now is that shared expense for the fuel.
Right.
Is that for the fire department, the police department, and DPW?
And how do we get the detail?
Exactly.
That's what I want to know.
So if you go to
there he is.
page 12
Oh, okay.
on this.
Okay.
They do have a vehicle fuel line.
You said on page 12.
This it right here. This here.
Trying to see. Nope.
No, not this one.
No, it would say on the bottom of the page 12. That's
oh, let me go down. 8.
Yep, there you go. That's 8.
9.
Okay, here we go. This is 12. Okay, let me back up.
So you'll see a vehicle fuel on that. Oop.
Does he go down a little further?
So that's the same dollar amount.
Right here. Right here. Yep.
Oh, there it is. Same amount. 100,000.
120.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Doesn't that throw you off? And then it also says DPW shared expenses.
Where do you see that?
943 up to 1.3 million. Right under property insurance.
Oh yeah, right there. Yeah, it's about the middle of the page.
That's about 500,000 almost, right? 400,000.
What's that?
This increase from here to here is 400K. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
So you can see like why I'm trying to dig into the DPW to get a better understanding of this stuff. It to go back and forth on this, it gets very confusing.
So DPW shared expenses, shouldn't that be broken down as to what shared expenses are?
Maybe deeper in the books in town, if you sat down with the CFO or somebody.
So budgets,
you can get to that.
So budgets can be viewed by anybody, right? Any citizen, right?
Yep.
Correct.
So I'm Joe Citizen, and I say I want to take a look at the budget, and I see DPW shared expenses. What is that? Like that, and that'd be my first question. Like, what's the line items for the shared expenses?
Well, that's where I started with the indirect funds. I want to know more. I want to know exactly what's in these indirect funds, because if you go from the rink versus Parks and Rec versus maybe I'll say the new maybe trash. I don't know if there's a line item. I didn't look, but those need to be clear so we understand. And every single one of these enterprise funds should be lined up with exactly the same for heating, water, utilities, all lined up. It shouldn't be squished in to the indirect funds anywhere. Everything.
I don't think you'll have difficulty getting detail on most of these line items if you so desire. I'm not.
We have to ask.
Right. What you might have difficulty getting, or even wanting to get, is all the receipts that back up.
Yep.
You know how back up the transactions. That might be microfilm or microfiche going back to the 70s and 80s library tech.
He's down in the basement.
You have you got Steve Callow overseeing everything for the DPW, right?
Yeah.
He's the one who can say yes or no with what goes on with the budgets.
That's right.
We should be able to go in and specifically say how much is the DPW spending on gas.
Yeah.
I should be able to go in and say exactly how many water meters are not working in town.
Yeah. If they give you any other answer, then they're wrong.
Well,
you're a taxpayer.
Been given the wrong answers with the rink. I was told the water is being paid for by the rink. There's a meter on it. And I was specifically told from Mr. Calla himself, there was a meter on there.
And there wasn't.
There is no active working meter.
So did you go back and say there's no meter there?
I didn't want
to.
I'm
not pushing you. I'm just curious.
Want to poke the bear too much.
Oh, so. Well, isn't that so? All right. So isn't that what they want, though? Isn't that what they want?
Well,
don't push too hard, or we're getting what?
I'm taking little steps here and there, and
Yeah.
I'm reaching
No,
out to
Kurt, you
people
got to get him, man.
on
You got
FinCom.
to get him.
Smash.
Yeah, you gotta get Pitbull on them.
I take a little a softer approach.
Yeah, you're not
Oh,
Todd.
have some fun with it, Kurt. Come on,
I'll
have
pull
some
a Todd
fun.
one day, right?
I have to tell I can't tell the story because other people get mad, but it's funny.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to enjoy it in my head.
That's not a story you tell on a live stream, in other words, right?
Yeah, you know. What is it? What is when they sign their texts or emails? Not safe for work, NSFW.
Yeah.
So NSFL, not safe for live stream.
Yeah, not safe for live stream. Yeah.
So
Wow.
if you really start looking at the enterprise funds too for the DPW, so Mr. Calla oversees those also. And the hard part in our town is where we're limited with funding for personnel, right?
Yeah.
The plus DPW is down a good amount of headcount for what needs to be done in our town. Always.
Yeah.
So you have to mix and match people to try and do work at the DPW. So you're borrowing a person to do this for the enterprise fund, or, this person on the enterprise fund is actually helping out on this other.
Which enterprise fund are we talking about? I'm
any
sorry.
one of them. If you really look at all the enterprise funds, there's not enough people really staffed to cover every single thing that needs to be done on any enterprise fund. So there's always, Tanji was doing double roles when she was in for the ferry. She wasn't just the ferry. She was also doing other stuff. Clerical work. Sometimes if you need information, sometimes you get it from my request for the water bills. I got it from the clerk that I don't know if she's a clerk, but she works
Denise
for
Christ?
Not Denise.
Okay.
From the DPW. I did get it from the DPW. It's pretty quick, actually, too.
That's not abnormal, though, Kurt. It's fairly normal. It filters through the town.
So the breakdown of the budgets is like little percentages of each enterprise fund that gets paid to Steve Calla for his role. And then I believe some of those indirect costs in there might also be utilization of other people's resources too. So we need that information. And what I think is going to be great, FinCom has asked for that, to have a better breakdown, more clear and concise, a good line items. The budget with specific line items, kind of all of the enterprise funds are aligned exactly the same. So I think that's going to be beneficial. And I think the town manager, this new town manager, from what I'm hearing, I haven't met with him and I do plan on it. I think he's going to be on top of this kind of stuff.
Well, I think if we have questions, he might have questions. I would like to think that he would say, you know what, guys, you're kind of onto something here.
Yeah.
If anybody could get answers, he could.
Well, and I want to just comment, Kurt, on the if I'm picking up what you're putting down here a little bit on the indirect costs and not being allocated appropriately, or at least having detail. And if I'm hearing you right, it's one of two reasons. One, they simply didn't break it down. You have to request it. Or two, it's part of a shared services style of business, right? Where you have, like in the corporate world, in the white collar world, if a giant company like IBM has shared services centers all over the world, where the sales offices and engineering offices all get administrative services, HR services, printing services, IT services from a shared service center, right? Yep. They do all the PO purchases. I'm wondering, Gillette's probably run somewhat like that now too, although they've shed a lot of their operation, but they probably have some type of shared services, I'd imagine. Is that what you're talking about?
Contract that out, but yeah.
Okay.
So I do get that about what goes on down there. I think the problem that I kind of I think there needs to be more accountability on the director for how finances in the department are going, to be more specific. Just like the gas line item. That's on him. He should know exactly how much gas is being used by every vehicle every week.
Oh, that is, again, that's when there's vehicles involved, town, municipal, state, or federal. Yeah, there has to be accountability for
Should
gas.
be accountability when
like you have to be.
You ask about a meter
transparency.
In town, you should know.
Absolutely.
And
well, that part, okay, yep.
I don't think the DPW is very transparent on how things are working down there. I really don't. And then I'm going to throw this in, and so if you have a problem with the head of DPW, who do you go to? His wife for HR.
All right, yeah,
that bothers me. Okay,
so
as an employee, if you I was going to not me. I don't.
So,
the
the head of the DPW's wife is the HR person.
Yes. For the
how?
time.
Who? How? Where? When? What? I've never heard of that in my life.
My company, if you're even boyfriend or girlfriend and you're the HR person, you get moved. So that HR person is not with you.
In my former career, if you're husband and wife, you don't work in the same office or you don't work on the same shift. Like you gotta, like she's on midnights, he's on days, she's on days, he's on midnights. You can't supervise the other, you know? And so
who do you go to
the
next?
DPW, head of DPW's wife is the HR for DPW.
I believe she is.
If she isn't now, she was. I mean, it was true. If it's not true now, it was true at some point.
Now, look, I'm not about someone losing their job.
No, not at all. No.
But how do you think the employees there feel?
Unprotected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether they're saying it or not, that might contribute to some of the. He's got a tough turnover in that department.
So, and even if it has nothing to do with someone getting fired or disciplined, if there's talk at home, I mean, I don't know how that's avoidable. You know,
right? I didn't think of that side of this. Right, all the information.
Yeah.
So if you go and look on the website or anything, I think you're going to see she's the only HR person right now.
So who's in charge? Is that a town manager issue?
I believe it is.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
Yeah.
So how many employees are in DPW?
I do not have an accurate number. I don't know.
A estimate. Couple hundred.
I don't even think that many.
No.
50.
Maybe 20, I would think, right? The administrative staff is lean. You've only got a handful of workers, maybe 20, 25, 30.
And they're kind of shared across different things too.
Yeah.
So
she's HR for 20 people?
I would say probably more than 20 people.
50?
Yeah. Well, she's the HR for the whole town.
Yeah,
whole town. Wow. Okay.
So
I'm not questioning anybody's integrity. I'm not putting any, but if you look at it on the surface, in my opinion, it's just not right.
No.
There's a huge conflict of interest there.
So you got to figure, I think the DPW is like 25, maybe 30 employees right now.
Right.
So as an employee, I would not feel comfortable going to my boss's wife.
Oh, no. No
Absolutely
way.
not. Never.
And we don't know if that's happened. We don't know if there's been somebody that's been, get in trouble, and then they just, I have no one to protect me.
And to Scott's point, and I'm not throwing this directly at the DPW director.
It's a thing. It's a real thing. We're not making this up.
I'd be nervous about them talking about me as an employee.
Yeah.
Sharing personal information between themselves. It would make me very uncomfortable.
When you live with somebody and you're married to somebody and you love somebody, there's breaches in a situation like that. I have to think that there's a breach there at home in your private talk.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. Birds will be chirping in Winthrop.
Could be wrong. But I don't know if that's, like, again, I don't want anyone losing their job. I don't want anybody getting in trouble, but it's all about the employees, right? That's what HR is for.
That's right.
There comes a point with like, in my company, we have stewardship.
Yeah.
You know, you always want to do the right thing, right? So you never want to accuse someone of not doing the right thing. You need to have
right, exactly, and that's not what we're doing, right?
But for me, where there's so many, I don't want to say unanswered or not available information readily at a couple of clicks of a keyboard. So if I were to go, and I'll just say, the software definitely needs to be upgraded down there. Okay, it is so archaic.
Wasn't that something the line item in the budget? I saw software.
Yeah, well, every I think department you'll see has some kind of software licensing
right
in it, and I know there's some push to update our IT. But if you were to go to DPW and just say, let's go to the assessor's office. I want information from the assessor's office. If I were to go to, let me think, another department and where the assessor's office has, every listing for the whole town, right? They're supposed to, right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
I should be able to go to any other department that ties in with the assessor's office to get the information, and you can't. You have to go to each individual department to get information. And there's some of their listings are different between departments.
This is a long running situation.
Let's perspective here for a second. Just for a second, guys. Let's put this all in perspective, right? Municipalities in general have lots of people who are motivated only to come in and go home.
Absolutely.
Right? They're not being paid much, whatever the case may be. So this isn't unique per se,
right,
to Winthrop.
No.
Just want to be fair.
Look, I worked with federal employees that are like that. So
right, that's right.
These days I do that at my company too.
Yeah,
I think we all have that.
They just get murdered. They typically get moved out quicker in private companies.
Yeah. There's
so we can send this clip to Gillette. I can edit that little segment right there.
I told my bosses. Like,
you told them you're not working. Oh, that's cool. All right.
In this,
at least you're transparent about it.
Oh, he knows when my brain is just overloaded and I'm like, I cannot focus on this. I just can't do it because there's days where I get hit with a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so I understand where like the budgeting comes in. Like it was just an end of month for me where I had to reconcile and I have to answer for down to the dollar where everything is spent. And I go and look at the budgets here in our town. It's like, okay, yeah, it's not even that clear, not even close.
Yeah, and for the people watching, I think the three of us understand that the budget topic can be very dry. It can be very boring and monotonous and confusing, and we appreciate you, whoever the people that are watching, sticking with it, the interest. I don't know how well. I think we did a good job at kind of getting a couple things out there tonight. But is there more to come, Kurt?
Yes, it was a long week last week with Memorial Day weekend and all that. So and plus I want to try and get a meeting with the town manager.
Okay.
There's certain things in the DPW budget. I just want to see if first thing I want to see is those indirect costs really laid out.
Yeah. And this isn't going to happen overnight.
No.
This is a working, but as long as we see progress. What's that?
I think we're going to see it. And then just to touch on one more
we're going to demand to see it.
Oh, yeah.
We're not going away.
With FinCom putting it out there, I thought that was great that they actually said we need clarity on this. It's in, the state guidelines.
State guidelines, yeah. And good for you for pulling that out.
And then another thing to touch on that people should start worrying about, it's our tax money that, we're paying out of our pocket to fund our town, right?
Yeah.
We have the field coming up. I know you guys have mentioned that before, right?
Yep.
That is a lot of money we got to start budgeting for. Our maintenance costs, our new center, we're not budgeting for that yet. How much does it cost to put a person down there to water? Oh, wait, we got to pay for water to take care of all those greens?
Mother Nature's going to take care of all of it.
Yeah. Until summer comes and we have like 2 weeks of no rain, right? And then everything down there dies.
Yeah.
Hey.
So we're not really budgeting in maintenance fully
We
for
never
everything we have. So
we never really have.
go down to the DPW and request a maintenance schedule for all their vehicles. Every one of those vehicles should be on a regular maintenance schedule.
Yep.
That's the only way they can run effectively.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you can have accidents here or there. Something happens, something breaks. Those happen.
Yeah.
But if you do preventative maintenance on all your machinery, your equipment, you actually save money over time, even though it costs you some money up front.
Yeah.
But that's part of my background is preventive maintenance.
Yeah.
I've been doing that for years at my company. We save money by stopping a machine to actually do, okay, there's wires that are starting to get frayed. There's tubing that's frayed. The cylinders aren't acting right. If you do that on a regular drum beat, you save money in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the time when something breaks down, you just quadrupled what you're paying to have happen. If you a front loader breaks down on a job, what happens to the job? You just extended the job. Now they're going to be overtime. No, so
your profit margins are going chomp.
Yeah. And where does it come from? The taxpayers' money.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we have to pay for that.
We always had spare vehicles. We always had like 4 spare vehicles on hand in case that went. But then again, we were a 24-hour operation, frontline drug interdiction. We didn't want to have a canine officer off the field because their vehicle broke down. That's kind of important. You got to get out there.
You confiscated drug money. Could you guys use that?
They used to back in the day when it was U.S. Customs, not U.S. Customs and Border Protection, which Bush ruined the greatest drug finding operation in the world by merging customs with immigration and agriculture. We were the best in the world at what we did. At least I got to enjoy that for 5 years. But they used to seize drug vehicles and they would use them. Yeah. But then, you'd see them driving around in a Chevy pickup truck or something. You know what I mean? Unmarked, but it's got government license plates on it.
Oh, did it have low profile tires with the mag rims?
Right.
Yeah, that's stereotyping, isn't it?
Yeah. All drug dealers drive those. What?
Right. Would you, Scott, if you were looking for someone driving drugs over the border or whatever, would you be looking for that 1986 Ford Tempo light blue?
You learned in that job, don't ever look at anything and say it's not there.
Ah, okay.
That goes from a chair, a simple metal chair, 4 legs, a seat, and a back, to that Ford Tempo.
Well, did you hear at the, I think it was an airport, they just busted a person in a wheelchair filled with cocaine.
Yeah, I saw that. How about, we would go on the planes and search the food carts. The food carts. And you'd pull out the trays that have all the Cokes and stuff in them, and you empty it out and there's nothing there. It's actually under the panel in the tray. It's soldered in.
Wow.
I mean,
they're good.
The object was to beat the dogs. All they ever wanted to do was beat the dogs. They didn't care about the human beings. But that was the rule of thumb. Don't ever look at anything and say it can't be in there. So,
and by the way, he didn't mean actually physically beat the dogs. He meant get by the dogs.
By the dogs. Yeah, that's terminology. They want to beat the dogs. They wanted to fool the dogs.
Yeah, trick them.
Yeah, they want to trick the dogs. And for the record, people, coffee never worked. That's like a wives' tale. Oh, just put it in the coffee. Dogs, all they'll smell is the coffee. Did you know what if you own a dog, when he comes into the kitchen and you're cooking bacon, right? All you smell is bacon.
Stop talking.
The dog smells the bacon, the packaging that it came in. It smells the leftover fat that's on the counter. It smells everything in the room. But we anthropomorphize and think they're only going to smell the coffee. Yeah. So, anyways,
So let's
giving
touch on
away trade
two
secrets.
Quick things. Two quick things here.
Yeah.
So Todd, I'm on your side with the whole pot shop. I got no problem with that here. I don't smoke it, don't touch it, don't like being around it. I hate the smell of it. I look at other towns right now reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy not to allow us to do that here.
It's legal. It's legal.
It is.
Yeah.
So I'll touch on that. And then I'm actually going to touch on a soft spot here in our house, trash. I will say I get no inside information from Wendy. I said it last time. She will not tell me anything.
I believe that.
I look at the budget alone, the proposed and everything, and I have to say, I've listened to the Board of Health meetings. The ordinance is in place to get everything rolling the way it needs to go. The second for the like trash bags, you buy those bags, that whole thing is set up ready to go. I think you're going to see the budget is going to be changing on that. And I'm almost guarantee if things don't get put into effect soon, because the cost of us going to capital waste and everything is going up again, it's going to cost people more money.
Of course
it
really
is. Because, the town was giving us that subsidy for the enterprise fund. And I think
it wasn't always an enterprise fund, though. It wasn't an enterprise fund. It was part of the budget.
It was.
Now it's an enterprise fund because we screwed up, and it's an easy way to put it back on the taxpayer without passing an override.
But if you look across the state, it's actually very common in many cities.
That doesn't make it right.
Scott, you pay trash, right?
What's that?
You pay for trash, right?
Down here?
Yeah.
No.
So I know my son lives down in Ocala. He was paying for trash.
Right.
So it is many people.
Now I live in a gated community, and we have a homeowners association.
Oh yeah, that's different.
So whatever we pay, which actually for the area, for the community I'm in, we actually pay a low homeowners association. But so it's probably covered in that.
If you want to make us pay a fee, go back to the last year that it was coming directly out of the budget, take that figure and reduce the tax rate by that figure. Give it back to the taxpayers. Don't go melting it into the general fund. Give us a rebate, for God's sakes, or something, because it's the 2.5% override law was meant to stop outrageous raising of taxes and meant to give the power back to the people. Well, now the power is out of the people's hands when you have the ability to just turn something into a enterprise fund and start jacking us with trash fees.
So I wasn't for it in the beginning, but now that I'm understanding the budget a little bit better, I understand why it got changed to an enterprise fund. I do. And it has nothing to do with, my sister being involved with it.
That's
just
fair.
Makes
Kurt, it's a tax on the poor too. It's just another tax on the poor.
Yeah. So, here's the other thing. Every year, the trash is going up almost over 2.5% on tipping fees is like ridiculous. So the only way to try, that's when they go and they actually dump it into the the site.
Yep.
It goes up every year.
Oh, that was the textile conversation we had. China's
not taking our stuff anymore. So we're on our own. So we pay more for it now. Where are we going to get the money from if we don't try and the town doesn't have the money to keep covering this where it's going up?
Put it on a ballot. Put it on the ballot.
Okay, so if it gets shut down, how are we going to pay for it? What are we going to lose?
Stop giving raises.
Wow.
Then you turn over people again.
Yeah. That's okay. And then as a community, we learn in order to make things be fixed in government,
tear it down.
It has to be torn down first. It's never ever going to get better if we keep putting our finger in the dike every time a hole. It's been going this way for decades.
I agree.
We got to put the choices out there. You know who said it best, and I'd love to get her on the show, is Shannon Pulo. She's on the Finance Commission. She says it best. There are choices to be made here. It is a simple math equation, and everybody needs to understand it in the simplest terms possible, right? Like, you want to give raises to teachers as an example. Here's the impact on the budget. Here's what you won't get. All you school committee members who said, I'm going to bring this back and I'm going to bring that back. No, you're not. You're not bringing anything back. And you were about to prove it to us when you vote to approve the raises that you're about to give. So we should have a bigger conversation where we say, sure, let's give them raises, but here's what the town's not going to get. Sidewalks are going to get done less. Trees are going to, we're going to put less trees, right? All the stuff that we lose. It's a simple choices equation.
Yes, I'll agree. If we make better choices and not make people think Winthrop has a ton of money outside looking in, and that's what we do. Oh, Winthrop has a ferry. Oh, Winthrop has a ferry? The town must have money. No, we don't.
We have sidewalks.
Perception is everything, buddy. Perception is everything.
And look how messed up our town is budget wise because of these choices we make. You're right, Todd. It's choices. I say it all the time. And Wendy, if she's listening, will probably get mad at me. It's all about choices. It really is. We've made some pretty crappy choices for our town, and now we're dealing it with the trash budget at being an enterprise.
Yes, Austin Faison was a shit choice, pardon my language, and we all wanted to feel good because we wanted to hire someone that checked the box. Well, not all of us. The people who actually use their brains were like, no, we need someone that's got experience. This guy was not a fit from the jump, and he's costing us a fortune.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, just so you know, we still have to hire more people to fill roles that the payroll has gone
budget
up
money.
On. So the CFO, I guarantee the next CFO is going to be making more money than the last one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
Yeah. Our town manager is making more than the last one.
Oh yes, he is. Substantially more.
But he comes qualified.
But I'll tell you what, after my conversation with him this morning, I am very, very excited because you know what? The one thing he knows that was important that we agreed upon. He has big plans like everybody else, but he realizes there's going to be fires that pop up. And if he wants to focus on the big, he can't be playing whack-a-mole. So he's got to find money.
Yeah.
And he knows that's his biggest help.
But that's what he's getting paid for.
Yep. Anyway.
But
so we're an hour and 10 minutes.
Budget.
All right. All right.
I appreciate you having me on again. Even though I didn't bring like some fireworks. Oh boy.
No. You're a pit bull, buddy. You're a very mellow pit bull, but you're a pit bull.
I like it. It keeps me
we
mellow.
appreciate the time you put in and the time you give us, man. It's absolutely. Hey, listen, it's all about content, and content is for the people, and we want to make this town transparent as much as possible. That's been our goal, and that will continue to be our goal.
We need more people
and light some fires. And what's that?
We need more people to ask questions. It can't be the same people over and over.
Yeah,
we need more people.
We do.
So we want to find out more about the Quinn bill, that $250,000, and the turnover rate of officers that get that college fund paid. They get their college paid for and then leave. And then the gas. I mean, we got to kind of get a breakdown, right, of the gas. Or are we happy with the $100,000?
No, I'm not.
So more things to kind of put out there, and these questions will not get answered overnight. And Kurt, when do you expect to sit down, or have you?
I got to reach out to him. I haven't had a chance to reach out to him. I actually did something down the park. He was there cooking.
Yeah.
Bob was there.
Right. All right. Well, I'm going to bring something up that I don't want to tie Kurt into. So, Kurt, we're going to let you go so you don't get caught up in what I'm about to show on the screen.
Oh boy,
it's interesting. It's interesting. It's a root cause. Let's just put it that way.
Thanks, Kurt.
All right, Kurt. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you maybe in another couple of weeks. We got Bob DeFelice coming on next week. So,
nice.
Yeah. But you're a tough act to follow, Kurt.
That's right.
You're a tough act to follow. I don't know if he's gonna pull his weight on this one, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
Alrighty,
thank you again. Night. Tell Wendy we said hello.
I will.
In case she's not watching, but I'm sure she is. All right, buddy. Well, that was interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good conversation.
I mean, budgets can be dry.
Yeah.
But
it make them very exciting.
Part of the town. It's what makes the town run. So somebody sent this to me recently.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And it's in reference to the reason this show exists.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That must be a good thing then.
Well, yeah, it's a screenshot. It's a screenshot from a Facebook group.
Ah.
Yeah. I think it's the one Winthrop group.
Oh boy.
Right? So, as we think they're being quiet, they're not. Of course they're not. And let me this got sent to me, and it's in regard to the flag. So let me put it up on the screen, and I don't care. I'll put it out there. So there was a comment says, so I just got a little clarification. Flags. It's recommended people talk to the town council with questions, and then they give the town council. Currently, the only flags that are allowed flown on town government property are the American and POW MIA flags. Well, they forgot the Massachusetts state flag. And then our friend Julia Pringles Wallace, right? She's like, oh, yes, it came down to the great flag raising debate. Yeah, well, Julia, you're wrong. So this person, whatever her name is, says, back to Julia Pringles Wallace, yep, it's sad because there is a small but loud group who had the objective to prevent the pride flag from being flown again this year. Meanwhile, there are flag-raising ceremonies on surrounding communities.
Yep.
Yeah, well, you know what? We were the voice, but it wasn't a small group.
Nope.
Not like those 12, the 12 angry jurors, 12 angry people that's on one Winthrop, but there's 3 that stand out, 2 that stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they can't let this go. But
Well,
last year they got what they wanted.
This Kimberly Mahoney person lied because she's saying that we had the objective to prevent the flag. No, our objective was to prevent all flags other than, right?
Yeah, but how they twist things.
You're right. Good
To
point.
fit their agenda. Because we're against them, so our objective was that flag. Well, what Kimberly Mahoney doesn't know, and evidently Julia Pringles Wallace decided to forget, is that Todd wanted to fly a flag too.
Yep.
And got denied. But they're just like the state-run media. They're only going to tell you they're only going to talk about what they want to talk about. So we were the bad guys that prevented it. That was our main goal. When we stated right from the beginning, if I remember correctly, Todd,
we did.
Our objective, we have nothing against the flag. Fly it down at the community center. That's fine.
Can I cut in there for 1 second?
Yeah.
Because you had actually posted on Facebook a picture of a pride flag okay, so that's the point I'm getting at. So I want to be clear here, because apparently there are multiple versions of this now, and I want to be clear. The real, I'm calling it the real one because it is the original real pride flag, and I learned this recently. If Father Walter is watching, he's the one who educated me. All the colors of the rainbow, the primary colors, are meant to represent all of us.
It's 6 colors, right?
Yes, they wanted to be part of the gay community back in the day. Just wanted to be part of our community too. That's what that flag represents. Now you've got one color represents soul or in this desire, and then you got the brown flags represent the brown people, and the white flags represent. No, you're. Well,
they just added. They kept adding combinations of colors. Like they all want they couldn't be happy with just having that flag. Which again, it's a well-known flag. It's worldwide. It's known worldwide. That original flag.
Couldn't stop there. I object to every other version of it because it excludes everyone else.
Yeah. No. Just go with what you have. Go with what anyway. This actually, and it's just my opinion. I could be wrong, but I think the more progressive it gets, it moves them backwards.
Yeah, it gets more exclusionary. It gets
exclusionary, but it also gets people that were all good.
Oh, right.
Like, hey, I'm good with all that. God bless you. Do it, But then they're like, hey, wait a minute. Now I'm getting a little irritated because it's just more aggressive. It's like, nobody denied recognition.
Nobody.
It's just the whole flag flying. The flag was flown because of the old town manager. I mean, the old town council president was pandering for votes. That's all that was.
That's exactly what it was.
So for them to say that it's a loud group, small but loud, I don't know.
You know what?
I think we had a lot of support.
And I would suggest to everybody that's mad about it to go. Actually, you should be more mad at Phil Boncory because he used you. He was trying to use you for votes.
For votes.
That's why he wanted to fly that flag.
Yeah. And it was just like, oh, sure, remember me come November.
That's right.
But we saw how that turned out. So it was interesting to see, someone sent this because there's always people send us stuff. We're not, and we don't even ask for it. This was unsolicited.
Yeah.
Sent to me. So there you go. We're on their minds.
By the way, an update and some good news. I am happy to announce.
I'll take this down now.
Yeah, please do. I'm happy to announce
You're pregnant.
Nope. Oh. But Julia successfully delivered her baby. I want to say Thursday or Friday of last week.
Excellent.
So everybody's healthy and happy.
Congratulations.
That's it.
God bless. God bless.
Now we can get mean.
Well, yeah. So I actually heard that she had her bike lane is coming to fruition. Is that happening?
It is.
Are you asking? Do you know?
I don't know what bike.
Somebody sent me a message saying that she always wants the bike lane.
Yeah.
Someone said that they think that it's about to happen or that it's close to happening, and then they kind of leaked that evidently she might have plans to move the center thing to past the rink, like green space. Like they're not gonna stop at the center. You know this.
They want to expand the center business district into the rink area, right? Something like that.
Something like that. And they want green. It's all about green space,
right?
So
right.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know.
Hey, Scott.
It's good content for us. It's going to keep us on the air. What's up, Todd?
We got some good content because we got to give a shout out here. I want to say that this is Brian Thompson watching us from Aruba tonight. Watching from Aruba. I love it.
There you go. Somebody was watching last week from Dallas or Texas, somewhere in Texas, I think.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah.
Enjoy the vacay.
Maureen Davis said 7 colors in God's rainbow. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. And listen, all the power to him, man.
That's it.
Kurt says I would have stayed on for this. This is our fight, Kurt. This is our fight, buddy. We don't want to bring anybody else into it. Then you'll get fingered and labeled and da-da-da.
Yeah, you got to be careful where you live too, Kurt,
Yeah,
be careful. Your roommate there. She might get a little upset.
Yeah. But all right, buddy.
Yeah. Everybody. Wow, it was a good show. I'm glad Kurt came on. This is a good one. Again, this speaks to, right? What do we always say? All politics starts at the local level.
There you go, buddy.
That's it. And we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're making moves. So thank you, everybody, again.
And as usual, I want to thank everybody for watching on behalf of Todd. You are the engine that drives this machine. Without you, it would just be me talking to Todd, and well, that can go either way on any given day. So, but again, thanks for watching. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your input. And if you ever have anything that you want to ask or present to Todd or I, you can find us on Facebook and just send us a message. Let us know. It works. As you can see, I put it out there.
That's it. Let's keep doing it.
Let's see. Kevin Corkum said, looking forward to Coach next week. Yeah, Bob DeFelice will be on next week. Yeah. If you have any questions for him, message me or Todd.
Yeah, send them in. Send in
the messages. Send in the questions, comments, compliments, whatever you want.
Funny stories.
Yeah, just don't give us any horror stories. Well, hey, listen, he's retired now, so if you have a story
now, my friend.
If you have a story, and we might be pushing that during the week because this should be a good show. Very light and engaging and entertaining. All right, on that note, we will see you next Monday night, 8 o'clock.
Peace out.
Stay strong, Winthrop. Stay strong.